Hello everyone, welcome back to Palling with Peacemaker. My goodness me, it came this, did it? I mean, this is, was this what we all thought it was going to be? I mean, if you listen to last episode of Palling with Peacemaker, I had the inclination it may be something of this nature, didn't I? But that sixth episode of this season 2 of Peacemaker, I think is a real doozy for best episode of Peacemaker yet, should we say? Whether we'll get a better one in the final 2 episodes of this season, you know, we'll wait and see about that. Obviously, this is the penultimate episode of Palling with Peacemaker. As well, you know, it's only a quick season, isn't it? 8 episodes, only 4 episodes of this show necessary. And we are here today talking episodes 5 and 6 of Peacemaker season 2. Back to the SUTURE. SUTURE, is that how you say it? SUTURE? SUTURE. And ignorance is Chris, and it is ignorance is Chris that I think we're likely to spend the majority of time on, given all the absolute craziness that does happen. And very, very pressing, telling, kind of poignant craziness, I must say, that is revealed in that 6th episode as well. Very, very smartly done. Very, very boldly done. I think from James Gunn and from the whole creative team behind Peacemaker to be putting something like that in there.
Yeah, and like all the nuggets to kind of lay it out, and it's like, are you able to kind of spot these strange little things that are happening, or hearing kind of dialogue that
it's very subtle. It's not really remotely clear, but I think during that 6th episode, I was beginning to realize what ultimately the real world Harcourt realizes in that episode of you really just don't see any non-white people in this world.
So it's something you really have to be kind of, are you somebody who kind of is aware of their surroundings in that way to be noticed that? Because I mean, we saw every time Chris was in this world, we saw that there was literally no people of color anywhere around.
But it's, when do you pick up on that? Are you gonna pick up on that when he first goes in there? Possibly not, maybe not. You know, let's in a strange way, let's also put this down to watching a lot of old Hollywood movies where with predominantly only white people, it's maybe not quite as shocking, and I mean, for me to see a movie with only white people in. So maybe subconsciously there's that going on in my head. But I will admit, I did begin to go during that 6th episode pretty early on when obviously he's in there fully and everybody ends up going in to the alternate dimension. I did start to go, it is what I think it is, isn't it? This is racist world. This is quite clearly racist.
And you kind of start thinking back to the vague threats that the Sons of Liberty were making. Like, clearly there's some type of liberation group, not some kind of like terrorist threat. They're fighting against this kind of regime in this world. You can listen to little things that you might be able to read about that version's Chris when, you know, Harcourt talks about, I'm not going to get my heart broken again because you're curious. So instead of maybe this version of Chris being bi, that version of Chris is gay. And that's maybe why he's constantly going on these benders and things that his brother kind of mentions, because he's suppressing it and he's depressed about suppressing it. And that's why he had so many issues with Harcourt, because he was gay, trying to fit into this thing because this world would not let him be that. And even Adrian, when he goes to his house in this version, and he sees
Oh,
his father, and he
yes, when
says,
he
"My
goes to his
father's
old
not
house.
gay." Yeah, and he says, "My father's not gay here," because his father probably is
Yeah.
gay here, but can't be gay here. So he's just,
Yeah, you know
you know,
what? I didn't even really clock that aspect of it, but
yeah,
you are absolutely right as well.
yeah,
I think the idea with the Sons of Liberty obviously not being this terrorist organization became a little clear to me when it was revealed that that world's Adrian is a member
yeah,
of the Sons of Liberty.
yeah, and
Saying,
hates
okay, so
Chris.
this has to be some and hates Chris. So okay,
Yeah,
so this has to be some sort of positive force group
yeah,
then,
yeah, yeah,
because as much as we like Chris, Peacemaker,
yeah.
do we really like the idea of the what do they call themselves? The terrific trio. I've forgotten what they call
Oh,
themselves.
the oh my gosh.
The turbo trio. It's
No,
some
yeah,
nonsense.
the top trio,
Uh,
the top
the
trio.
top trio
Yeah,
of obviously Chris, Keith, and August.
yeah,
The blue dragon in this world, as
yeah.
opposed to the
The
white
red,
dragon
white
that he
dragon.
was
Yeah, yeah,
in. Which I mean, white dragon sounds at least a bit more racist than blue dragon does.
blue.
Blue
Yeah,
dragon doesn't really sound racist at all,
yeah,
but obviously he very much is the same person. It's just that's the world now, and
yeah.
it's a mad thing to think about. I understand we're talking about the 6th episode before the
I
5th
know.
episode. I do feel like we
Yeah,
have to go in some sort of order, obviously with that
yeah.
brief conversation there. We can
Yes,
get
but
into more details when we get into it, but
yes, but just a big kind of explosive thing to learn. So of course, I think we're itching to get into that.
yes, I think so. But episode 5 of
Yeah,
Peacemaker season 2, back to the suture.
yeah.
What are we saying about this one? Do we have a synopsis, Jenny?
We do have a synopsis. Argus captures Chris with some help from Amelia, and Rick Flagg Sr. has his revenge. Chris decides to go to the other universe and leaves a note behind for his friends. Red Saint Wild takes down the Prime Eagle, but there's a price to pay, and Eagly isn't as dead as he seems. So kind of
Yes.
love that all this like eagle nonsense that this man was talking was actually real about the prime eagle. And Eagly is
And kind
the
of
prime
it is
eagle.
Eagly, and
Yeah,
Eagly is this godlike eagle
yeah,
who's able to summon all these other eagles to eventually take down Michael Rooker and peck his
yeah,
eyeballs out and kill him, essentially, and
yeah,
just peck at him enough that
yeah.
he ends up
You
dead.
know,
What a
he
wild scene that was.
yes, I mean he has his friend come in, of course, Michael Rooker, longtime collaborator with James Gunn, to play this silly
Yeah.
character just to kill him off. And I'm sure Michael Rooker's like, cool, sounds fun to me. So
Quick, easy
yeah,
job for Michael, isn't it? So
exactly. Yeah.
no, I like that though, and I like almost the explanation of why, because he's obviously Eagly's a weird character anyway. Like he was always a
Yeah.
bit of why is this eagle really competent at fighting? Why is
Yeah,
this
yes, and
eagle just
hugging
like
people and like actual a functioning pet and like
yeah?
yeah,
Why is the eagle very very sentient and
and
quite human?
domesticated a little bit. Yeah.
So what's
Yeah.
going on here? So to learn that it's actually like a mythical, powerful
Yeah.
eagle kind
Yeah.
of does make sense for the world. So I kind
It
of like
works.
that, and
Yeah.
I like that the Eagles get their revenge on Michael Rooker because he's going around there with his massive, enormous rifle,
Oh
trying
yeah.
to taunt the Eagles and goad the
Poison them. We
Eagles,
see him like poison a
poison the
rat and a
Eagles.
fox eats it and it like kills the fox. Yeah.
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 So good for Eagly, but that's before Eagly is taken into the other world by Chris.
By
Obviously, he says,
Chris.
"Come on, Eagly, we're
Just
going.
come
I've
along.
been through.
And
I've been through enough here."
yeah, I'm done. But yes, before this, we do set up this meeting that Arcus kind of gets Harcourt to be a part of. But when she does text Chris to come, she sends him this code word letting him know to stay away.
Yeah.
And even though he understands the code word, he still needs an answer. He desperately needs an answer to this question about what happened on the boat. Like, did that mean anything to you? Because it meant to me. I need to know your feelings on what happened on the boat. And she
Yeah.
is just very much about business. She's like, I told you not to come here. Why are you here? You're an idiot. This is dangerous. And he is just fixated on this question. And she's trying to like get him out of there, and also to kind of avoid talking about it, which this is kind of what I was talking about when I was telling you Jennifer Holland got some really great stuff. Like I
Yeah.
absolutely love their performance in the scene in the interrogation room in the next episode. It's so powerful and builds that relationship in such an interesting way and deepens it in a really interesting way. And you completely now get why she's building up these walls and pushing him away. But yeah, this is kind of the building of that, her really being avoidant and her showing her care through these other things, through these other means. Because that's kind of the best she can muster, is trying to protect him, and he is just fixated on wanting to talk about feelings, even in this kind of crazy situation where Arcus is all
Yeah.
around watching them. Um, uh, a judo master is up on a rooftop ready to shoot Chris with a trank dart.
Yeah.
They're all ready to capture him, and she's trying to get him out of the situation. And I love like how smart Chris is when he gets there. Like he knows like what the situation is, and she told him, so he's like, you know, running around with dogs and moving and hiding
Yeah.
behind people and stuff. So they can't get to him, so he knows exactly kind of what's happening and aware of his surroundings. But I love that, like, despite that, he's still very fixated on getting an answer to this question, and
Mm,
her and knowing her feelings is still his focus despite kind of anything else. So
yeah.
that just is just speaking to how much she means to him and how much this means to him.
Well, I think
That kind of
you
takes
kind of,
priority to even his own safety.
yeah. I think you like that. I think it endears you more to Chris. Obviously,
Yeah.
he goes about it in a bit of an idiotic way, because in a bit of a dangerous way, a bit of a,
Yeah.
self, um, almost self masochistic sort of way, because
Mhm.
he almost wants the pain, he needs to hear the
Yeah.
definitive answer, even if it's bad, to
Mhm.
have that sort of feeling there, because he's been
Yeah.
through a lot. He's
Mhm.
a traumatized individual, is Chris.
Yeah, and he's on
So
this road to kind of redemption, to being a better
of
person and all this
course,
kind of stuff, so he's much more open to his feelings, and he's found people who he can kind of be honest with, express those feelings with, as opposed to kind of having to
yeah.
keep them bottled in being around his father. So he's much more open of a person emotionally as well in this
Yeah.
season.
Um, but obviously, Argus do end up capturing him, but in order to kind of save his life, essentially,
Yeah.
Amelia has to step in, knock him out with this incredible kind of headlock leg
Oh,
thing that
yeah,
she does.
yeah. Well, the Agent Bordeaux, she was gonna take a lethal shot, and we see, like, she is
Yeah.
part cyborg. And so in order
Yeah,
to
that was a nice little reveal going
reveal.
on as well.
Yeah, and then we see this kinda little flirty dynamic with her and Rick Flagg Sr. as well. So, um,
Yes.
which if you watch Creature Commandos, we see he's not completely against, sleeping with the people that he's kind of
I see.
tasked to work with. I mean, he tries to kind of play this authority figure for a little while, and then he's like, "Oh, whatever," kind of thing.
I see.
Um, but yeah, she's about to kind of take this lethal shot, so Harcourt steps in and takes him down so that they don't hurt him. And they ultimately end up taking him in, and Amelia immediately goes to Economos and tells him, "You have to book Chris. You have to get his presence here on file, on record, or
Yeah.
they could just like, black box him and he'll just disappear. So
Yeah.
we need to have a record of him being booked so that Rick
And
Flex Sr.
Rick
can't
Flagg
just
Sr. will
disappear him."
literally keep him. Rick Flagg Sr.
Disappear
will
him.
literally
Yeah.
keep him for long-term torture, essentially.
Exactly. Yes, yes. So Economos does this and acts like, "Oh, I'm just doing my job. We brought this guy in, right? So we gotta book him. That's what we're supposed to legally do, right?" Um, And he also kind of reveals more about Barter being this cyborg, like, she was just like, her
Yeah.
whole body was, like, mangled in this accident, so they replaced a bunch of her parts with, like, robotic parts, and he's like, "I hate her so much, I made her mangled body my screensaver for a while." She's like, "That is sick," and he's like, "I didn't make my brain, like, I'm not responsible for how my brain works." So I kind of love I love that line where he's like, "I didn't make my brain.
Yeah.
I don't know why I thought that was okay. Like, I'm messed up at the head. I don't know."
Everybody's messed up in their head in this show.
Essentially, yes. So I love that, like, behind the scenes, Chris is thinking like Amelia, betrayed him and got him caught and all of these things. But
Yeah.
we see behind the scenes, no, she's doing what she can to protect him and keep him safe. Economos as well, despite
Yeah.
being a part of Argus. So yeah,
And
I
Amelia's
love
kind
that
of
his friends are
stewing
still,
at this point as well,
yeah.
though.
Mhm.
Amelia's really stewing with not being able to tell Chris what she's
Yeah.
done properly, not being able to tell Chris that she kind of actually does like him. We get that explosive scene
Yeah.
in that interrogation room in the other world in the next episode. We do.
Yeah.
But she is stewing and she's having conversations with Adebayo and with Adrian in the car and everything like that. And they need to kind of make sure that she is who they think she is. She is the good person they think she is. Because
Yeah.
we know she is, but there are certain actions that she has done in the face of Chris, and then Chris has gone to his BFF ads and has told her, and it doesn't quite look right. It doesn't.
Yeah, and ads kind of has to tell him there's no way she would do this on purpose. Like, she's an 11th Street kid. There's got to be a reason why she did these things, because ultimately they do end up getting Chris out of there. Like, Rick Flagg Sr.'s beating the crap out of him, and Chris is trying to apologize and say, "I know,"
very violently.
Yes, and Chris is just taking it because he gets it. He's like, "I know you have to do this. I deserve it. So do what you need to do. But I just want to let you know that I'm so sorry to think about what I did to your son every day." And he's trying to tell him, and Rick Flagg Sr. is not listening at all.
No.
And ultimately, once Bordeaux tells him that Economos booked him, like, you can't you can't keep him like this anymore. So he's able to get out, and Adebayo and Adrian pick him up. And so he's kind of explaining to them and telling them, like you said, that, Harcourt did this and she, was against me. And Ads is like, "No, that can't be. There's got to be something more going on here." And then we get this moment with Rick Flagg Sr. and talking to Bordeaux, and him, like, seemingly to have this other kind of motivation. Like, he's like, "Well, now Chris will think it's all about revenge for me." So you're like, "Oh, is it about something else?" And he's like, "We're gonna go visit, call Belle Reve and tell them I'm coming to see a prisoner." Yeah. So
which we
get a
obviously
little
see in the next episode as
Yeah.
well. But
Yeah. So, he has this conversation with Bordeaux that, like, it has an interesting kind of, like, he has maybe another motivation going on beyond revenge.
well, I mean, that motivation is reasonably kind of obviously his actual job, which is protection and intelligence agent. That's what he is. He does want to protect the country in the way he knows best. He just has this personal angle with Chris himself. So he's going to have that. He's going to have the beating up. He's going to have the violence towards Chris.
Yeah.
But he's still going to go through with what his actual task to job is at that point, which is to get that dimensional portal. And to figure out what it is.
What's going on with that,
take it away, make sure it's safe, or if it's not safe, destroyed. That's his goal.
Ultimate.
Ultimate angle, but he just has to go through Chris to get there.
Yeah, and he does mention that as well, that, like, well, now that, like, I've let him go, we'll maybe be able to follow him and figure out where this base is that he's, keeping this device. So sure enough, after Ads drops him off, Judo Master's following him, and we see him write this note. We see him leave it there, along with the, like, portal holder kind of thing, and he sets it up. and Judo Master's watching him through the window, and he makes his plan to go and walk through the door and let the portal close behind him. He's just gonna, do everybody a favor and
And
just
never
stay in
come
the other
back.
dimension. Yes, he gets to be with his dad and his brother and be a hero there, and everybody likes him, and he gets to be with Harcourt, and it's the perfect
Yeah.
future for him. So he ultimately sets it up, goes through, lets the door close, and has this note there, and Judo Master follows him in there as
Yeah.
well. So, I mean, getting into kind of the next episode, like Judo Master also probably somebody that they don't want in this world. So
I
how's
wouldn't
that gonna look
imagine
for
so.
him? Yeah.
I mean, strangely enough, I don't think we see Judo Master in the second
No,
in the
we don't.
6th episode.
Mm,
I think that there's much more things going on. I'd
yeah.
forgotten that episodes of Peacemaker were like 35 minutes long as well. They're not
Yeah.
long
Like an
episodes
hour
of
or anything.
television.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, they can't put everything
Yeah.
into each episode, but it would be interesting to see what happened to Judo Master, to be fair. I think
Yeah.
we probably will,
Yeah.
but maybe not in this 6th episode, which had way too much else
Oh,
going on.
yeah. Yes, and Judo Master, he does call Argus to tell them about the portal and where he's at, but, like, because of the portals going off, it's really hard for
Yeah,
them to hear them, but I think they probably ding where he's at. So we end up kind of
yeah,
seeing them investigate the scene later, because before Chris goes through, he also adds a text saying goodbye and, like, "Love you, bestie,"
yeah,
kinda thing. And so she and Adrian rush over to the cabin, and they get there too late, but they get there to grab the note and the device before Arcus gets there. And I think they do see the Cheeto dust, so they're like, Judo Master
yes.
also has gone through.
It's like Hansel and Gretel, isn't he? Just
Yeah, oh
leaving
yeah,
crumbs around.
exactly, leaving Cheeto crumbs around. So yeah, that's ultimately kind of where we end this episode.
It is. It's
Yeah.
sad again, though, isn't it? You get a lot of
Mhm.
sadness, really, in
Oh
in this
yeah.
season of Peacemaker. It's not a happy watch, really, to see
Yeah,
Chris,
it's rough.
you know, completely go where he cannot return from. He
Yes,
or in
and we
theory
hear
he
his
thinks
note.
he cannot return from. Obviously, we hear
Yes.
his note. It's very, very heartfelt, very, very emotional. He just can't take that life anymore.
Yeah, and he even kinda insults, like, "I still love Harcourt too, even though all that stuff that she did."
Yeah,
I mean, whatever. Um, and yeah, we see Adrian completely break down, and we see him kind
yeah,
of build up this whole nemesis kinda situation with Adebayo for Chris's friendship, because he's like, "I'm his best friend too, and I'm competing with Adebayo for to be his best friend." But he breaks down and is able to kind of let her console him despite
yeah.
kind of just showing how deep his grief is for the loss of his friend. So we see them all kind of really heartbroken over it. But the first person to say we're gonna go get him is Harcourt. So what does that say? You know?
Exactly,
So
exactly.
yeah.
Let's get into that next episode.
Yeah.
Episode 6, Ignorance is Chris. What a good title it is.
Right? I mean, all these funny titles are pretty fun. The 11th Street kids follow Chris to the dimension where his father and brother are still alive. As the cracks in Chris's perfect reality start to show, he and Amelia have a heart to heart, and he ultimately faces a choice between staying in comforting illusion or doing what's right.
Yes, I mean it would definitely be. It's not just staying in the comforting illusion
Yeah,
or going back. It's definitely staying there or doing what's right. It's actively doing something very wrong
very
or
wrong. And
something very right.
yes.
It kind of is that extreme. I like how kind of goofy and comedic it is with the Harcourt, Adebayo, Adrian, and Economos all trying to get uh, into the other world, though, because they have to go to Adrian's mother's house.
Yes, because his identity is secret, so they won't know where his house is or look for like a
No,
ping a ping or a surge there. So they go to
And
Adrian's house and we meet his mom and she's just like, won't shut up. And she's like basically saying all these weird things and kind of revealing all these lies he's told her about friends and that he's dating Harcourt so she won't think he's
yes.
weird and that she's slutty and like and Harcourt's like, what the hell are you telling your mother about me? That I'm your slutty ex-girlfriend? What? And he's like telling
Now,
her, Mom, shut up, stop talking. And she's just going like he's not
you
even
know, that I'm not always the biggest fan of Adrian's comedy,
yeah.
but I can't say this particular thing didn't tickle me. This was quite funny.
Yeah.
And because they're going into his no admittance room, you're not allowed into my room.
Yeah.
And it's not like a bedroom, it's this
No, it's like a
basement
basement.
room.
Yeah.
Where what's he got in this basement room? Piles upon piles of hard drugs that he's confiscated from people.
Yes, and money from criminals. And they're like, you just keep this here? And it's like, yeah, well, when I take down these like criminals, I confiscate their stuff because I don't want the cops to get them because those cops could be corrupt. And then they're like, you just have all this money. Like, and like Adebayo's like, you have all this money. You literally made me pay for your breakfast the other day. He's like, I'm not going to use this drug money, this terrible, tainted, villainous money. And so then, like, behind his back, they're all like stuffing the money in their pants and their pockets.
Wads of cash.
Yeah.
It is very funny.
Yeah.
This all, this is all while they are trying to set up the portal device. They end up setting up the portal device in the doorway to Vigilante's Beanie Baby collection.
Baby closet. Yeah.
For some reason he has. And Adebayo, fair enough, she's able to get it working.
Yeah, because she saw kind of Chris messing with it, so she kind of figures out a way. But then the whole kind of sonic blast that comes out of it blows cocaine all over
everybody.
Yeah. So
which obviously wouldn't have happened if Adrian hadn't been stashing a load of criminal cocaine in his basement.
Exactly, to keep it safe. So yeah, they get in there, they clean up, they find the door. I think Economos and remembers the code, so they're able to get in there, and they're kind of looking around. So they're in, Augie's house. And so they end up finding his room and they're in there. And then here comes Keith. And he's like, what are you doing in here, Harcourt? And he's very confused because she's also wearing pants. So he's like, I've never
seen wearing black and pants.
Yes. He's like, I've never seen you wear black or pants ever. Like, what's going on? Also kind of like a little cue to show you kind of the traditionalism of this world of, women only wearing skirts and that kind of thing. But even like we opened with this kind of like them eating and hanging out after killing the kaiju, and some kids come up to the table to want to take a selfie, and then Harcourt takes a selfie and their faces start melting like in the image to kind of cue you into kind of something weird here. But yeah, so then everyone else is like hiding, and so she has to kind of act like other Harcourt, and like she's being weird and saying weird things and talking about like their mom, and he's like, our mom died like a long time ago. What are you talking about?
She doesn't know quite how to behave because she can't just go into how she is, because that's
not this world's version. Yeah, so he's like, well, I'm going into Argus, do you need a ride? And so she's like, okay. So she goes with him. And we see her kind of in his car, and he's talking about this band Halloween, and she like doesn't know what he's talking about, and talking about Mick Jagger being like the lead of the Beatles, and she's like, and she's looking around, and you see like she doesn't say anything, but we see her kind of looking at all the people and like being really
just squinting a bit. She's just squinting a bit.
Yeah,
she's giving it this sort of something's a bit off here. Something's quite off. We're not quite clocking maybe what it is exactly yet, but maybe this is around the same time that we ourselves as viewers are going, wait, actually, maybe?
I don't see any
is it that
people of color around here. I don't know. And so then we have Ads and Adrian and Economos back at the house. And Adrian's like, you know what? To help this mission, I think I need to find my other self. Like he's obsessed with finding
Oh,
his
he's absolutely
version.
obsessed.
So they're like, no, like don't leave. He's like, no, I need to do this. So then he goes off to go find his other dimension version. Um, and Ads and Economos kind of wander around the house and they find Eagly ripping up the fridge. So they clean up the mess. And
Yeah.
Adebayo decides to go for a walk, and Economos decides to stay there at the house.
Yeah.
And so all of this is kind of compounding. So Harcourt is with Keith going to Argus. Economos
Yeah.
is at the house. Ads is just kind of walking through the neighborhood, and Adrian is off looking for his alternate self, which he does end up finding. So he finds his
does, and
house.
that's a really fun scene.
Yes, like his house is like his house, except like the little thing out front is like a different kind of animal. It's like a chipmunk instead of a squirrel or whatever it was. And he is walking around and finding all the different things. He sees like the Cheerios. There's an H on the O of Cheerios,
Yeah.
and he's like just freaking out about all the crazy stuff that's not the same, but kind of the same. He walks by and sees his parents kind of like, you know, sitting on the couch, just not even communicating. And he's like, my dad's not gay here. You're like, yeah. So once you kind of reveal what's going on, you're like, yeah, his dad probably is gay here. He just is not allowed to be gay here.
Yeah.
He goes down to his basement room. It's the same. His key works. He walks in there, and the other Adrian pulls a gun on him because he still has his mask on. And he takes his mask off, and they're looking at each other. And you think other Adrian's gonna like freak out and shoot him, that he's just as excited. He's exactly the same. They're super excited to see each other. There's Spider-Man meme pointing at each other, yucking it up, and it's a great time.
They're asking each other what each other's favorite things are to see if it's the same.
Yeah, and it's exactly the same. And then we kind of get to the question, is your best friend who's your best friend? And he's like says Peacemaker Chris. And he's like, oh no, I hate that guy. I hate him. And he's like, what?
He's my nemesis.
Yeah. And he's like, no, like he's my best friend. And he's like, oh no, I'm with the Sons of Liberty and we're trying to stop them. And so then we're kind of like, wait, what is this? So then we go back to Harcourt and Keith, and the dogs immediately bark at her when she gets in because she has all that cocaine on her. So they ultimately detain and go to test her. But as she's they're taking her to a back room, this is when our Chris walks into Argus and sees her. And he's like, what the hell is she doing here? Because he clearly knows that's not
he knows Harcourt. It's not the right Harcourt because he's just left the right
Harcourt because they've just slept together and had a nice morning, and she said she was going to go into Argus later. She had some stuff to do. So they let him into the room to talk to her, and we get a really great scene from them. Really great performances from them in this moment. And he's like, you know, you're picking these weird times to have this heart-to-heart with me like this. And he's like, well, how about now? Why don't we just talk about it right now? And she's trying to, he's trying to get answers like what happened on the boat. And she just will not talk about it. She's constantly deflecting. And he asks her, like, was there something going on with you and Rick Flagg? And she's like, well, I didn't make it a secret that I hated you. And like we had a thing, but he had a girlfriend, but he was my best friend and you killed him. And so, of course I hated you.
That was something actually I wanted to ask, because like, where was Rick Flagg Jr. in this episode? Because he should be there. Should he not?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know that he's always there. Like he's always going to be there. Maybe it's just
maybe he's not always there. But I think it would have been. I don't know if obviously he then turns up again in the next episode, which is obviously that 7th episode. It's obviously going to be, oh my god, try and escape this horrible place. And save everybody who is trapped, i.e., Ads, from this horrible place. I imagine that's exactly what's going to be happening in the 7th episode, but it did clock to me of will the real world's Harcourt run into Rick Flagg Jr. then, and how will that go? And I thought that would have been an interesting thing to include,
see.
And clearly with your reaction, that doesn't happen in the next episode either. So I just think that may be something, maybe a bit of a
That they could have.
missed little
Yeah, I mean,
opportunity.
there are going to be some things I think that you might agree with most people that they were, while they still enjoyed this season, there were some things that they were like, well, you kind of set up some interesting things and didn't bother to explore them, is kind of, I think, most people's frustration with this season, despite overall enjoying it.
Yeah. Is
So
one of
yeah.
them the that potential thing? Have you heard that?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah.
I do very much think that. I think it would have been very almost perhaps really good therapeutically in the end for Harcourt to see Rick Flagg Jr. again and to, I know, pretend to have some sort of conversation with him as though she's that world's Harcourt. I don't know,
Yeah,
but
but
it
this
may have gone
version of
like
that
that.
version of Rick Flagg seemed kind of weird too. So I don't know.
I mean,
how
he
that was
did.
done.
He did. He was
Um,
quite weird. We also should not forget what Rick Flagg Sr. is doing in this episode over in the real world, as he is on his trip to Belle
yes.
Reeve.
Yes. I don't know if you want to talk about that before we get into this Chris and Harcourt scene. But yeah.
No, let's talk about the Chris and Harcourt interrogation scene then, because
Yeah.
oof,
So
it's a heavy one.
oh yeah, and so it's this whole kind of like, I know you hated me, but now I kind of know why you hated me, but I know you don't hate me anymore. And she's kind of like, I know you know that I don't hate you. Um, and she's like, he's starting to break her down. He's like, I'm in love with you. And she's like, I know. And he's like, but I'm a mess. Like, Chris, you were right about me on the roof. Like, I go and I get beat up because I need to feel something. And he's like, and I know, and I love you anyway, because she thinks like
Yeah.
something like that makes her completely messed up and too messed up for him. And she doesn't want to put that on him. She thinks she's just too much of a mess to be with him or to be with anybody.
It's
And
never
that's why
about that, though, is it? I mean,
yeah. And that's why
love
she's
is a
been
choice
pushing
you
him
make.
away. Yeah, and she's crying or like, welling up beautifully as she's kind
Yeah.
of, telling him like, stay away from me. I'm a total mess. And when he says, I know, I love you anyway, like she just can't, it's
No.
way too much. And she's like admits like, I can't just, I don't, I'm not in touch with my emotions like you are. And he's like, just tell me the truth. And she's like, oh, so what? If I tell you I love you, you're going to come back. And if I don't, you're going to stay here. And so, she keeps kind of finding ways to deflect saying it,
Yeah.
but also still trying to get him to come back. So like, you have to kind of read in between the lines with her, but this is like the most we get out of her, that she starts welling up with tears and admitting that like she's just not good for him. And when he tells her, I don't care, I know all of this already and I love you anyway, you can tell that hit somewhere for her. That
Well, that's
she took that in really, really. And
she did. That is so real at that point, though. That is like absolutely, Chris has made his decision on love at that point.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
he ain't gonna falter from that decision.
exactly. And so before they can even kind of go further with it, they get the all clear. Yeah, no drugs in your system. And as they're walking out, and going into kind of like the main bull pit of Argus, here walks in the other Harcourt, and all of the guards and stuff are like, Miss Harcourt, Miss Harcourt, like, so we're like, oh crap. So while this is happening, Economos is in the kitchen. He hears Augie come in and he hides behind the counter. And Augie's in the kitchen while he's in the kitchen hiding behind the counter. So that's like this whole buildup happening there. Ads is walking down the street. A lady drives by and sees her. She waves at the lady and the lady looks terrified.
Yeah.
And then we see her kind of get out of her car and run to somebody and point at Ads. And then Keith, he's driving back home and he sees Ads and he stops his truck and gets out, and Ad starts kind of noticing all these people staring at her.
Yeah.
And then we hear the Adrians talk, and this dimension's Adrian reveals that like he's part of the Sons of Liberty, and that um they're this kind of hate group, and this is a world where the Nazis essentially won. And he's like,
Yeah.
no, our world's not like that at all. And I love that, like, he's like, oh, so your world must be a utopia then. And and Adrian can't really say that. The
No.
Nazis didn't win here, but it's still not perfect, you know?
Yeah.
So the fact that the alternative, you still can't say that the world is perfect in a world where the Nazis didn't win, is like so
It's a
depressing
sad
to think
reality, isn't
about,
it? It's
right?
it's a very sad reality. But
Yes.
yeah,
And so
that
Adrian,
reveal then becomes very clear that that is the essential reveal. It's not the I do admittedly prefer the visual reveal that you get in
yeah,
Arts
yeah,
when Chris and Harcourt are walking through, and Harcourt says to him, "You do realize I haven't seen
not
a
a single person of
single
color here.
person of
Yeah,
color since
yeah.
I got here." And he's like, "What? Really? Are
Really?
you sure?" He's like, "Yeah, it's weird. This is not okay."
Yeah,
We kind of sweep down to that little flag on somebody's desk,
yeah, that they've
and
all been kind of rolled up.
they've all exactly they've all been rolled up, and Chris takes a look at it,
Unfurls
and it
it. Yeah,
looks unfurls. It looks like the stars and stripes of the American flag, but it's the stripes of the American flag with a
yeah,
swastika where
where the
the
stars should be.
stars should be.
Yes, and Adrian is telling him, our Adrian is saying, "Oh, well, I came here with a black person." And he's like, "Oh my gosh, well, we need to find her, because if they find her first, they'll round her up, because they put people like that in camps and work camps, and you know, if we don't find her, you're never going to see her again."
Yeah,
And so then as we, you know, Keith gets out of his car and he sees her, he's like, one of them got out. It's a black.
yeah,
And like everyone in the neighborhood starts coming out of their houses and chasing her down the street. Um, Terrifying. And yeah, that's all
absolutely
happening
terrifying.
while Chris notices the flag, and then Harcourt walks in. And like it's
Yeah,
a whole crazy mess of a situation. Um, and Augie finds Economos, who's trying to crawl away. He
yeah.
throws something at him, gets him pinned down, stabs him in the hand, and in the panic, Economos is saying all kinds of stuff. Oh, you know, I'm from another dimension, and I'm here to get your son, who's not your son. He killed your son. Oh no, I'm saying too much. And so he ultimately ends up having Augie, or he has Augie ties Economos to a chair, and as
Yeah.
Keith, like part of this mob to get Adebayo, um, Augie calls him and says, "What are you doing?" And he's like, "I'm kind of busy right now." He's like, "Well, drop it. Come home right now. I got to tell you something." Um, and so, yeah, what's going to happen with the reveal of Chris killing, not being their Chris and killing their son? That's
Yeah.
going to get out there. Ads on the run from this mob who wants to put her in some kind of slave camp. Chris realizing this world is not the idealized world he thought of. Harcourt facing off against Harcourt. And Adrian just, you know, becoming besties with himself,
Well,
essentially.
Aiden is likely, you would think, to team up with his alternate self and go and be, you know, go and bring liberty to
Yeah.
the oppressed. We'll
Yeah.
say
Mhm.
in that sense, but it sets everything up for an absolutely chaotic seventh episode, doesn't it? But it
Yeah.
does so in such a, like I said before, such a clever way, such a
Mhm.
bold way, such a
Yeah.
subtle way.
Uh, uh,
Until you get those big, oh my god, this is happening, this is happening, this is
yeah,
happening,
it was
and
on
you're
first
just
watch.
left.
It was so powerful to see that they were going in this direction, the boldness of taking on a storyline like this.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, it was really exciting to be like, wow. And then just kind of thinking about what the world looks like today, and just like,
Oh, the real world. I mean, absolutely. You know,
yeah, and kind of making those really heartbreaking parallels and things. It's crazy. So in the time that this is coming out and tackling that was really interesting and impactful for sure, that
Yeah.
episode.
So exactly what good media, good art should do. Is
exactly.
challenge the world in that
Mhm.
way. And I think including this alternate dimension that seems so nice until you realize exactly what's going on, and to
Yeah.
outwardly show, a stars and stripes with a swastika instead of the stars
Yeah.
is really, really impressively bold.
Yes,
thing
and
to
see, how aware you were of, like, not noticing any people of color. And if you were
Yeah,
somebody watching this and you didn't does that make you feel some type of way about how you walk through the world,
yeah.
Yeah.
And then if it does, change that,
Yeah, take that in and think about it.
take
Yeah.
that in about it.
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't mean you're a bad person, but just take it
Exactly.
in.
Yeah, you might you just not be aware. But yeah, and then kind of the last big thing in this episode is Rick Flagg Sr. going to Belle Reve to visit a prisoner. And when this
A prisoner.
Okay, and before they sat down, did you have an idea of who this prisoner might be? They came
Well,
hobbling in with a cane and
yeah. I mean, it would have been who. I would say, who else was it going to be, really, at this point? But it
yeah.
could have been any other DC character, I suppose, that would have been reasonably obvious as to who it was to put in there. So the public would realize, oh, okay, yeah, that's X character or Y character. We know who that is.
Yeah.
For God's sake, it could have been anybody. I don't know. But does it make the most sense that it was Lex? It kind of does, doesn't it?
Yeah. So yeah, he wants
given how soon Peacemaker season 2 kind of came out after Superman.
Yeah.
It was only a matter of a couple of months, I think, wasn't it? So
Mm.
Superman's still fresh in everybody's mind at this point.
Yes, exactly. And what Superman did to him and got him, put in Belle Reve in the first place.
Yes.
So he asks for his help to figure out these portals and things, and then gives him a deal to move him somewhere else.
Because he does not want to be anywhere where there are metahumans, because obviously he hates them.
Exactly. So yeah, they kind of work out this deal. He's going to help him kind of with the science of these portals and figuring them out. And now they're kind of
I think it's a wonderfully intense sort of conversation, though.
Yeah.
I enjoy the conversation. I think Lex is kind of grittier in this, as he maybe would be given that he's able to swear in Peacemaker.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Not really.
Be a little nastier.
Superman.
Yeah.
Be a little nastier, be a little more vulgar, be a little
brash,
more, like he would be, I think, because Nicholas Holt's Lex Luthor is a great version of Lex Luthor.
Yeah.
I think mostly because you get it's very, very different to all the other movie Lex Luthors, really. Because I mean, certainly Eisenberg's was doing a whole different kind of, youthful, tech geek version,
more genius, kind of thing.
Yes, version of Luthor. Gene Hackman's is goofy
Just
enough for
a bit
the
of a
70s.
cartoon, yeah.
And the he who must not be named, not Voldemort, but Kevin Spacey's, is
also very
reasonably
kind of cartoonishly different,
kind of cartoonish. Probably the most forgettable one of them. But Nicholas Hoult, he's got, I don't know if it's because he's bulked up, but he's got this sort of physical intimidation that you don't really, I feel like you don't get from Lex Luthor a lot.
I mean, maybe the comic version for sure. Like, I think he is more like that.
There's a real sort of, he's gonna death stare you out. This man, this man is gonna death stare you out. He's more than capable of beating you up, as well as outwitting you and out intelligencing you.
Yeah.
And he is not somebody who's just a megalomaniac. He's got a plan. He's going to see that plan. He's going to be relentless in doing that. Obviously, it doesn't work because Superman, but he's got that mindset, I think. And Nicholas Hoult brings that real, I suppose, grimness out, I think, in his version of Lex. There's nothing cartoonish about it at all. It's very, very, it's very based in the real world. And that's not to say that, like, Eisenberg's wasn't based in some sort of the real world.
But he was
outrageous as that was.
Yeah.
It might have took it a little too far, but there is, you know, tech geniuses out there that behave in that
a little
petty
maniacally
kind of way.
Yes, and there's a petulance to his Lex, I think. That,
there is, It's not really that with Nicholas Holtz. I don't get that sort of. There's no immaturity to Nicholas Holtz.
Well, there is a bit of a like I hate you because I can't, you know, because you shouldn't exist, and
like, but I think that's a mentality.
It's a very base kind of hate, and he's very upfront about that. Like, Superman has not done anything to intentionally hurt anybody, but he doesn't care. He's just blind in his you are other. I don't want other. I hate you, and I can be honest about that kind of thing.
Well, that's what I mean. That's the terrifying angle, because that's not immaturity. That's just being horrible. Because he understands that that's his feelings. He doesn't care that people think it's horrible, because that's his feeling.
Whereas it's like
you
real
did wrong to me. I hate you now. Like,
which I think
remotely come into it.
Which I think makes him really interesting, because I think there are people like that who exist in this world who hate groups of people and try to make other excuses for why they feel that way, and can't just be upfront to say that it's pure hatred, you know. But Lex is a character who has these kinds of feelings and can be completely honest as to why, and doesn't care what it looks like, you know.
It's what makes him more terrifying, that impressive level of just awareness of your own hatred. Because, you know, not enough people who have so much hatred within them
can be honest with themselves about it.
They can be honest with themselves.
They have to spin it into some kind of excuses as to why it's valid for them to feel this way, instead of just saying, no, you're just kind of a hateful, terrible person.
So I really like Nicholas Holt's Lex.
Yes, and scary that now Rick Flagg Sr. is getting in bed with him. And working with him to this degree, because they were kind of on opposite sides of this whole thing. Because if you watch those scenes of Superman, he was very much against Luthor's plan to get rid of all and all of these things. But now that he kind of is, you know, has this revenge kind of in him, he's kind of throwing all of that out the window for whatever ultimate goal he has, and he doesn't really care anymore. So now he's in bed with this person who has an agenda to enact his Lex. So that's kind of scary.
Yes, very much so. Lex gives him the information that he needs, and Rick Flagg, you know, agrees for Lex to be moved to a human-only prison. Which, you know, is going to be beneficial to Lex, I suppose. No doubt in the future of DC universe we will see Lex Luthor escape from this prison, or something, because you can't keep somebody like Lex Luthor in prison.
And we've kind of gotten a little bit of information about the story that's going to be coming. I think it's a comic run where they have to kind of team up, so him and Superman I think is kind of the comic story that they're telling in the next iteration of these characters. So
interesting. No, but I like all that. It is it's a really fun scene. It reminds you of those. Remember when the MCU was good? It reminds you of those sorts of scenes that will include, oh my god, you know, this massive character from the movies in something else that I didn't expect them to be in. Yay! And it's good like that, and it's good to see a different side of Lex, a
Yeah.
prison-bound side of Lex.
Yeah.
A
Hobbling in with his
Lex,
cane. Yeah.
a bored Lex almost as well. Like
Yeah.
he has nothing to occupy himself with now, and
Yes.
he's just like, what?
And
Hello,
being
Flagg,
surrounded
what are
by
you?
these creatures with powers doing gross things around
Yeah,
him, and like he just can't stand it. Yeah.
I seem to remember. Did he allude to somebody that sounded like it might be Killer Croc in something? He was complaining
Yeah.
about someone doing something nasty in his
Yeah,
cell
which
next
also
to him.
is funny if that's the case because, Adrian, he doesn't want to flush the drugs because, it'll hurt the alligators in the sewer.
Oh,
Which,
see
I mean, Killer
that
Croc.
thing. Well, exactly. The last thing Killer Croc needs is cocaine.
Yeah,
Really, isn't
right.
it? Depending
Exactly.
on which version of Killer Croc you want. I wasn't necessarily the biggest fan of the version we got in the first Suicide Squad movie.
Yeah, he looked good.
He looked
good.
He
But
looked
yeah,
good. I don't think he
but
did
he didn't.
anything.
Yeah, no, he didn't do much.
A,
But
a proper version of Killer Croc is enormous, I think, as well. A proper version of Killer Croc is absolutely enormous and just so incredibly dangerous and only wants to just eat everything and everyone.
Exactly. So we don't need to be giving him cocaine.
No, the last thing we want to be doing. So fair play, Adrian, for not indirectly potentially giving Killer Croc cocaine, although Killer Croc seems to also be in Bellevue.
If that's who he's referring to. Yeah.
If that's who he's referring to.
Yeah, so that's kind of where things are left.
It is.
Before we end this season and potentially series, James Gunn said there's not really any plans to continue. Yeah. And kind of how they end it, I think these stories could be continued in film form, focusing on our 11th Street kids going forward. So, yeah.
Maybe get them involved with the Justice Gang. No, we're not going to go there. We'll have to see, won't we?
Yes, we'll have to see. Yeah.
Because we do only have one episode, as you say, of Palling with Peacemaker left. It is the finale, episode 7 and 8. I'm expecting chaos and then a come down is what I'm expecting, Jeannine. I'm expecting chaos and a come down.
Okay.
Because that seems to be how story structure kind of works, really, doesn't it? I don't think it'll be chaos and then more chaos. I think it'll be chaos. Ultimately, all be okay because obviously, it's just who they end up killing in the alternate dimension. I think. I don't necessarily think any of our gang are going to die themselves, although they could. They could. It's a show that wouldn't be afraid to do
it would not be afraid to do that, no. But
I think.
Yeah, we'll see.
They ain't gonna kill Chris, let's just say.
No.
He's gonna be absolutely fine.
Yes. So I'm excited to see your reaction, because I think a lot of people, while they enjoyed it, they were kind of let down by not getting to kind of delve. Like, why did you just make it 10 episodes and delve into these interesting things that you've kind of got us excited about? So we'll see if you felt like something was missing from the next 2 episodes.
Fair. It's an interesting thing to go into them thinking about, I think. But we also have to remember that, it doesn't have to be perfect. We should be thankful that we have some sort of a regimented, clear, and singular vision for DC.
Yes, and somebody who has a track record of really kind of solid work and solid storytelling. Because I don't think, even if you don't like everything James Gunn has done, I don't think he's done anything egregiously bad. Well,
no, but look what he did with
Suicide
Guardians
Squad
of the Galaxy, and well, even with Guardians of the Galaxy, look what he did with that. It was such a complete trilogy in and of itself that it didn't even need to involve any other movie for it to feel like a complete trilogy of an arc in and of itself. That's what I liked about that, and the Suicide Squad itself was wonderful.
That he could still kind of play in the box of that other film while also kind of fixing all of the problems of that
Yeah,
box.
because he hadn't took over at that point, had he? He hadn't taken over at that point. That was before.
No. And then if you even
So-
watch Creature Commando, some great storytelling in that animated series. So do
It
not
seems
write
I
it
must
off
do
as
that.
yes, do not write it off as kind of animated fluff, because all of that's connected. Those actors who voice those characters will go on to play them in live action once they appear in other places. He sets up some really poignant emotional stories, lots of comedy, some great stuff in Creature Commandos as well. So he's doing pretty good so far. So yeah, really exciting.
Yeah. Very exciting, very exciting. We will be back, of course, with that finale episode of Palling with Peacemaker in 2 weeks' time, because this show alternates with discovering Dawson's Creek here on the It's a Wonderful podcast feed and on the It's a Wonderful podcast YouTube channel. Of course, if you have been watching today's episode, do subscribe and ding your notification bell on the YouTube channel if you are here. Or if you're not, go over and do it. If you are watching today, do subscribe wherever you are listening to the It's a Wonderful podcast feed. For everything we do have. Morgan hasn't seen every Wednesday the main show, It's a Wonderful podcast itself, celebrating old movies every Friday. Pre-Code Hollywood, it's the January series there. Novel Idea is the January series on Morgan Hasn't Seen. Leave your comments on Spotify, rate and review everywhere, share it around, all that good stuff. And if you would like to support us on Patreon or donate in any way, you can find links to do that in the description of the episode. Or, of course, find us on and across all the social medias, on the app formerly known as Twitter and on Blue Sky at It's a Wonderful One. Find me on the app formerly known as Twitter at the Purple Dawn with a 3 instead of the E and the, because, Jeannine.
3 is a magic number.
On Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky at the Purple Dawn. All your alternate dimension. No, I'm not going to go that. I don't
want to go there. I don't want to go there. No,
we don't want to go there.
No,
we don't want to go there.
No.
All your escaping from the alternate dimensions.
Yes.
Where?
You can find me at Jeannine Devine _ on Twitter, Jeannine Devine on Instagram, TikTok, and Blue Sky. And if you want to get any merch for any of our shows, just check the description for the link or search Jeannine Design on tpublic.com.
Well, there we go. That does, of course, only leave one thing left to do. And I don't know, in your finest impression of Vigilante talking to himself.
Oh my God, no. 3, 2, 1, Spider-Man.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. Bye.